So I ask you again, where is your pressure coming from? Is it coming from God, or is it coming from the world? And I end with this. So I told you guys, that there was a part of my life about 6 months to a year ago where I felt like there was a whole lot of pressure on me. And a lot of the pressure was fake. A lot of the pressure was not real. And what I learned was that I felt like there was pressure from my parents to be great, but they never said that. I felt like there was pressure from the world that I had to make 6 figures and be living on a mountain, but that wasn't true. And if I wasn't driving a Mercedes, something was wrong. So I'm just filling up my mind, and it's getting harder and harder and harder and harder and harder. And I began to become depressed and have anxiety, and every little thing made me start to shiver and sweat. And then I moved out the house and I went and lived on a campus by myself where I didn't have any support of anybody praying with me. And I didn't have the support of somebody really sitting there and and telling me what I was doing wrong. So now I'm sitting in my own anxiety. I'm sitting in my own depression based off of what the world told me. So things are getting heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier in my mind. And Pastor texted me and said, "Hey, you're preaching next Sunday." I said, "Huh?" He said, "You're preaching next Sunday." I said, "Man, I ain't touched my Bible and I don't know how long. I ain't said a real prayer and I don't know how long. What is it that God, why would God tell Pastor to tell me to preach on a Sunday when I ain't did nothing right in the last 6 months to a year?" That's the first time I preached. The last 6 months to a year, I ain't did nothing right. And what God revealed to me was Pastor was using God to put pressure to get back to him. Did you not notice whenever you have a womb, people have to put pressure on that womb so you don't begin to bleed out? And what I was feeling was that I was starting to bleed out, and all of God's blood was starting to be exiting from my body. So God talked to Pastor and said, "Put a little pressure." I don't know what it is, but put a little pressure. So I'm bleeding, and I feel Pastor say, "You're preaching next Sunday." And I was like, "Oh, I got a woman, I gotta put pressure on it." Have you ever noticed when you start and you can't breathe, you gotta put pressure to bring it out? So Pastor says, "Okay, you're preaching next Sunday." I said, "Oh, shoot. Okay, I gotta get it ready." So now I'm like, okay, I'm reading my Bible. I'm like, I haven't looked in this thing. Where am I gonna go? So now I'm starting to regain my spirit because I started to lose the spirit that I have. So now I'm starting to work. And I'm like, okay, I haven't felt this in a minute. I'm like, I forgot how good this felt. And now what started happening was, as he told me to preach, then something happened where I had to move back home. So I didn't have to worry about the pressures of paying rent. Then what happened was I had parents who I talked to who said, "What pressure are you talking about? We never told you you had to make 6 figures. We never told you you had to work this job. We never told you you had to do this." That's done. Now my bag's getting a little higher. While I'm at home, I have an amazing girlfriend who's like, "Nobody told you you had to do all this. It's okay if you broke. I'm broke too." That's another thing that gets released. My bag's getting a little lighter, I'm telling y'all. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, it seems like things are getting a little easier in my life. Then God says, "Hey, it's time to leave your job. You need to get an easier job that's not having so much stress on your mind." Okay, God, I hear you. Now I'm putting more time in my schoolworks. So guess what's happening? My grades are getting better. Now I'm getting A's and B's. And I'm like, okay, things are starting to happen. And Pastor says, "I need you to preach again." Now I'm here and I can move freely on this stage because I don't have any weight on me anymore. The weight is released because I have accepted the pressure from my God. I have accepted the pressure he put on my life to be who I want to be, to do what I want to do, as long as he says it's okay. And I promise you, and I pray for you, that if you just accept the pressure he has for you, things will become easier. It's